Thank you so much. Today's session on Karm Yog Shloka chanting and understanding how to do Sandhi Vichhed was really beautiful. And last week we had Karm Yoga discussed for the whole week. And I think I'll try one Sanskrit sentence. Aham Bharat Kshetre Pranam Karomi. I don't know if that's good.
Kshetratah from India.
Okay.
Samichanam. Dhanyawad.
Dhanyawad. So good morning, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Daily Wisdom from Bhagavad Gita session. Today we are going to today we are going to talk about a very beautiful topic, I think Mother's Day. So I hand over to Nitinji. Radhe Radhe, Nitinji.
Radhe Radhe. Thank you, Sandhya. Good to see you in action from India as well. Thank you, Vijayji, for a wonderful session. Agami Soma Vasare Puna Milama Bahu Samichanam Dhanyavadha Namo Namaha.
You are shaking it.
Aham Panchavahate Uttishtanti Prayatnam Karomi.
Samichanam.
Samichanam. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Radhe Radhe. Bhagavad Gita visit now. Thank you for Bhagavad Gita backdrop as well. Good morning, good evening, everybody. Radhe Radhe. Hope you had a great weekend. Welcome to today's edition of Daily Wisdom from Bhagavad Gita. Hope you had a great Mother's Day as well. So in view of Mother's Day, since it was a Sunday, I thought we'll pick up a topic on mother only. We'll go from material mother to divine mother too. So connect the dots there. And we'll do a fast forward again. We'll pick up chapter 10th, shlok 41, and go through that and have a bit of a discussion around it. Hopefully it's going to help clarify some of the concepts around divine mother, divine father, as well as the different swarups of shakti that we worship as well. So I'm looking forward to another engaging session. Let's get started with our opening prayers. Give me a sec, I'll share my screen. All right. We'll get started with our opening prayers. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsa Chanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Radhe Radhe. Good morning, good evening once again. So let's get started. So I picked up 10.41 today, 10.41. So I'm going to recite it and then you're welcome to follow. And then we'll get deeper into the shloka. We'll go deeper into some philosophy as well. I've done this session before, but I thought it will be a good revision today to pick up this concept again. It's never enough to go through these concepts, to reiterate these concepts, and we'll go deeper into philosophy as well today. So tighten your seatbelts and wear your thinking hats on today. Yad yad vibhuti mat sattvam Shrimad Durjitameva va Tatte vavagachatvam Mavate Junsha Sambhavam. All right. Let's take a few participants.
Yeah, Meena ji, Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe everyone.
Yad
vibhuti mat sattvam Srimad urjitam eva va tat vagmachat tat tad evagmachatvam mama. Is it right? 1 minute, let me come over again. Yet
Tattadevavagachatvam mama tejonsha sambhavam. You can try again.
okay. Thank you so much. Tad evagcha tad. Okay, tad devavagachatvam mam tad tejo shashvam bhavam.
All right, Minaji, well tried. Thank you.
Yeah, I have. Yeah, it's a little bit coming Pakistan.
I know.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I'll take care of. Thank you so much. Yeah,
Thank you so much. Thanks for trying.
Radhe.
All right, Radhe Radhe. Okay,
Radhe
next, some new participants.
Surinder ji, Radhe Radhe.
Other to Surinder ji.
Radhe Radhe Prabhu. Yad vibhutimat sattvam Srimad urjitam ivaiva tad iva vagacha tvam mam tejo nisha sambhavam. Radhe Radhe.
Thank you, Surinder ji. Well tried.
I have tried the English version.
Okay. No worries.
Thank you.
It's a little difficult, so thank you. All right.
Ashutosh
Who's
ji,
the-
Radhe Radhe.
Who's the next brave person today?
Ashutosh ji, Radhe Radhe.
Please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
Yad vibhutim mat sattvam Srimadurjitameva va tad devavagachatvam mamate jonasha sambhavam.
Wonderful,
Radhe Radhe.
Ashutosh. Very nice. Wonderful. All right. We have quite a few brave people today. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Riya ji, Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe Riya ji. Please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe. Yad vibhuti mat sattvam Srimad ujitameva va tat devavagachatvam mama tejoshna sambhavam.
Very nice.
Radhe.
Wonderful, Radhe Radhe. Okay, we can pick up other hands as well, real quick.
Yeah. Sam ji, Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
Oh,
Yad vibhuti mat sattvam Srimad ujitameva va tattadeva avagachatvam mama tejo amsha sambhavam.
Very nice. Samji, looks like you've been practicing some shlokas. That was a good one. Fluently you did that. Okay, let's take the remaining hands and then we'll get started.
yeah. Other Sam ji with the video on, Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
Okay, Samji.
Yad vibhuti mat sattvam Srimad urjitam eva va tad eva gachatvam mam tejo nash sambhavam. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe. Thank you, Samji. All right, I can see a few more hands. We can really cover quickly all of them and then
Yeah. Rupa ji, Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Rupa ji.
Radhe Radhe everyone.
Radhe Radhe.
Yad vibhuti mat sattvam Srimadurjitameva va tat devavagachatvam mama tejonsha sambhavam.
Very nice, Rupa ji. It was as fluent as the fan in your room. So very nice.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Okay, let's take a few more hands and then we'll get started. I can see 3 more hands, so we can take all of them real quick.
Shruti ji, Radhe Radhe.
Radhe
Radhe. Yad vibhuti mat sattvam Srimad urjitameva va tat eva vagachatvam mama tejosha sambhavam.
Very nice. Wonderful. Very fluent. Keep it up. All right. Last but not the least, Pragi ji.
Pragi ji, Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe Pragi ji, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe. Yad vibhuti mat sattvam श्रीमद् ऊर्जितमेव वा तत्देवावगच्छत्वं मम तेजोशसम्भवम्.
Wonderful. Very nice, Pragiji.
Thank
All right,
you,
thank
Radhe
you.
Radhe.
Thank you so much. Anybody who's brave enough today? Okay, I think we have covered the bravery quota for the day. Okay, so let's get started. I see Chetan. He's silently thinking, should I go for it or not? I'll put you on a spot one of these days, Chetan. All right, Ashaji, you wanted to do that as well? Last one, real quick.
Radhe Radhe, Ashaji.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
Yat yat vibhutimat sattvam Srimad urjitameva va tat tat eva avagaccha tvam mama tejonsha sambhavam.
All right, thank you, Ashaji. Okay, let's get started then. So today we are doing Mother's Day special. We'll go from material mother to the divine mother and all the philosophy behind it. So pay close attention to these concepts. They are very going to be real deep today. And if it goes above head, feel free to stop me. It's important to understand these concepts once and for all. So the Lord Krishna is saying in this shloka, we have taken again fast forward just for Mother's Day. And tomorrow, by the way, finally, we will do 4.13 where we were. Okay, we've forgotten. We went to 2.47 and tomorrow we'll do 4.13. So we'll be back on track on chapter 4. That is where we have been. Now. So in this shloka, Lord Krishna is saying that whatever you see as beautiful, glorious or powerful, know it to spring from but a spark of my splendor. Okay, so it's not grandiloquence about himself. He's simply telling you, whatever you get attracted towards, something that you find glorious, something that you find beautiful, something that you find loving, it's just a tiny spark of his splendor that's emanating from him. He's the center, epicenter of pretty much everything that you see, that you get impressed with in this world. And mothers, right, as you would expect, what God has endowed mother with is to bring forth the nature. So you can imagine they are specially endowed with the splendor of God, that love, the care, the affection, the resilience, the patience, and all that stuff, right? Yesterday I was seeing a beautiful video. I think Padmaji had sent that, what kind of a job it is, doing a mother's job, 24/7 by 365, 366 in DPS without getting paid. And until associate has eaten food, she won't even eat food. That kind of a job, selfless work mother does. So happy Mother's Day once again to all the wonderful mothers. And we are going to spend some amount of time on this shloka today and take ourselves to the next level, the one who's giving all that good things that attract and touch our heart, which come through mother. All right, so let's get started. Happy Mother's Day. So when we are born, right, we already owe 9 months of free boarding and lodging to our mother, right, that she has provided to us, and that umbilical cord through which she has been feeding us. And that is the debt we are born with to our mother, towards our mother. And as you see, she's the one who takes care of us right from the first formative years that we have, carried us in our hands and laps for 2 years, and changed our diapers 10 times. So that roughly translates to about 7,000 times in 2 years. And how we learned to talk, how we learned to walk, our first lesson in ethics from our mother, to do the best, to be the best and be successful in life. All these things, we owe it to our mom. And even her strictness with us is also a manifestation of her love and care for us. Sometimes mother snatches away something from us or reprimands us. That is also born out of love and affection, as we all know through our experiences. So that is the note to all the mothers on this earth. Needless to say, it's a very, very special privilege endowed to mothers. And it is said that when we spoke about the concept of love, we will probably revisit it before the next Valentine for sure. We spoke about that material love is born out of catering to self-interest, being selfish. And our scriptures tell us the only relation that comes closest to being selfless is a mother-child relationship, not even a father-child relationship. Okay, that strong that bond or relationship is, and it is as perfect as it can get in this material world, closest to perfection. I'm not saying perfect, closest to perfect. Okay, so that is the significance or the importance of this relationship, and that's why Mother's Day is celebrated as well. I'm glad it is celebrated. So let's move on, start getting into some of the deeper concepts. So while and then for all of this, like we said, we did not pay her anything because it was her love for us, because of her love for us. And in love, it is selfless. You don't put a price tag to it, right? When we start growing up, that's a different thing. They say you do this and I'll do, but then it was all done free of cost. And even when we get annoyed and fought with her, where we should have said sorry, those are the moments. But if it is said that amount of time, if we count it, when we are thankful to our mom for each occasion, if we had given her a flower, all the flowers of this world would have gotten over. Okay, that much gratitude, that is also not sufficient. Okay, the gratitude will fall short of that if we start actually giving a flower for every thing that our mother has done for us selflessly. That much deeper it goes. And it's kind of, like I explained, the highest kind of love in this material realm. Although we are all selfish, but and we are driven by our self-interest, but this is the highest kind of love which is possible in this material realm. And that is why there's a reason for us to feel our gratitude towards our mother and truly reflect on who we are today. A big hand goes to her. And so many people contribute towards it, shaping the personality that we are in. But mother wins it hands down because she's the one who has been nurturing us right from the word go. Now, in this world of selfish love, mother's love as the finest example of selfless caring and kindness, softness of nurturing, and the qualities we associate with God. No discussion of Bhagavad Gita is complete until we bring in God into the mix, right? And these are the qualities which you can associate with God. These are the virtues that directly come from God. And in this shloka, what God is saying is all the qualities, the loving, the kindness, the qualities that touch our heart, right? Which are brought forth, or the personification of those qualities we see in form of our mother, that is but a spark of his splendor. That is what God is saying here. We have to understand this concept. Now let's move on. Now, reminds me of a movie, Diwar, but that's not the real one. Okay. Now, in this divine plan, while we offer our sincere gratitude to all the mothers, 2 billion of them, we must also realize and reflect on the fact that there is another divine mother that we need to have an appreciation and gratitude for. And how will we express our gratitude? By making our human life success. This mother, all it expects from us is making our human life successful. If you do that, she'll be most happy. You've really fulfilled the purpose of your life. That will warm her heart. Okay, and it is an opportunity to reflect on that aspect as well. That is what our divine mother expects. Even our material mother, she's probably the most happiest person when we do well in life. And our divine mother is actually, that expectation is there from our divine mother as well, that you make your life successful. Just become, do something good for yourself. Just realize the potential that you are endowed with and I'll be the most, very, very happy. And that is the expectation our Divine Mother has from us as well. So who is this Divine Mother? Okay, we've spoken about Krishna, and then we speak about Lord Ram and Lord Shiva. And who is this Divine Mother that we talk about, right? Mother Parvati, some call Durga, Radha, Sita, some worship her as Kali as well, for that matter. So who is this Divine Mother? What is the relationship she has in the grand scheme of things? Right? What is the relationship he has with our Divine Father? Obviously, when we say mother, father-mother relationship, but where does she fit in this whole scheme of thing? When we talk about God, Paramatma, Ishwar, all the concepts, right? And then in Bhagavatam, Param Purush, Krishna, his planetary expansions, where does Divine Mother fit in? So let's understand. It's a very, 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 very important concept, okay? And not really understood by majority of people, okay? So let's get into this concept now. Now we'll get a bit technical, but you take your time to digest this. Let's get into this. So let's get into the theory part of it. Okay, here is God. God has three energies. The Bahirangi energy, we have gone through this concept, but it's worth to revise it again. You would have forgotten it, okay, after a week, but let's do that anyways. So the external energy is called Maya. It's called Bahirangi energy. Okay? It is called insentient or Jad energy. Then the second energy is us, the special people who we are, Jiva Shakti. We are the Jiva Shakti part of God, which is also called Tatastha Shakti of God, or the borderline energy of God. Okay? That is who we are. And then there is a Swarupa Shakti of God as well, his internal energy. It's also called his Parashakti. It is also called his Yogamaya Shakti. It is also called his Atarangi Shakti. They are all the same name of his Swarupa Shakti. We also have energy, right? But we cannot separate our energy from ourselves. And God is no different, but God has the ability to do that. We'll get into that. So God has an internal energy, God has his borderline energy, and then God has an external energy. And all three are eternal entities. Nobody has created anybody. They have existed, will exist, will continue to exist, and is existing as well. Okay, they are all eternal entities. They will always be there. They will continue to exist. Mahapralaya happens, then everything gets into the Mahodar of God, but then again it's unleashed. So their existence continues to be there. None of it can be, nobody can destroy anyone. They all exist and they will continue to exist, and they have existed from since God has existed. Jab se tab bhi nahi tha, tab se all of these things have existed, just to put it simply. Okay. Now let's get into a little more technical here. So God is also called Satchidanand. We would have heard this, right? So Swarupa Shakti. Now God is called Sat, Chit, and Anand. We all know this definition, right? Satchidanand. So the Sat aspect of, so now these three attributes, they come from his Swarupa Shakti. Okay. And that is why God is called Satchidanand. Now the Sat aspect of God, it is enabled from something deeper, which is called his Sandhini Shakti. Okay, let's understand. The Sandhini Shakti enables the Sat aspect of God, which gives God form. Okay, it gives God form. If you take this aspect away from God, right? How can we take it away from God? No, we cannot take it away from God. How can we take it away from God? We can take it away from God because in God, in Bhagavad Gita himself has said that in whatever form you worship me, I will meet you in the same form, same way. Right? So if you worship God as an old man, he'll meet you as an old man. If you worship God as a baby, he'll meet you as a baby. If you worship God, a tall, dark, handsome guy, he will meet you like that. If you worship him like whatever form you worship him, he will meet you that way. Now, Jnanis, Gyan Margis, okay, just hear it out carefully. If you worship God in form of light, Nirakar Brahma, he will meet you like that. Nirakar Brahma is minus his Sandhini Shakti. He's not going to say, hey, by the way, I have this power also, I can grace you as well. He said, no, I will meet you the way you want to meet me. So, how can we take away that power from God? God will always have that power, but he will hide that power and meet you. That means when we worship God as Nirakar, Om, Brahma, Nirgud, light, then we have actually discounted his gracing power. Okay, we want to meet him as light, so his gracing power is gone. Not gone, but he will not. You have basically tied up his hands. He cannot. Light cannot grace. So you have taken control on your own sadhana to progress. That is why our scriptures say in Gyan Marg, it is called Markat Nyaya. It's like a baby monkey clinging on to its mother. When it jumps from one branch to another, if the grip is loosened, the baby will fall. So you take the ownership. You don't rely on grace. So the Sandhini Shakti is what enables form. But if you are worshipping God without form, you say, no, God cannot be objectified. It cannot have a form. God said, so be it. You worship me as a light. I can't grace you. You continue doing what you want to do, and we'll see how far you progress. Okay. Finally, you have to surrender, because in order to conquer God's energy, our self-effort is not alone. So Jnanis, when they reach to the peak, right, they realize finally they have to surrender as well. Your self-effort can take you only so far. So Sandhini Shakti is which enables form of God, through which we can see him in an avatar, in form of a baby, in form of a boy, however he takes a form and appears in front of us. Sandhini Shakti enables that. So this is the Sandhini Shakti aspect of it. The next is the Chit. Chit is enabled by his Samvit Shakti, where the sweetness comes. All the friendliness, the sweetness that, Krishna, Ram used to do, that is enabled through his Chitta Shakti. Okay. So that is the second part of the Swarupa Shakti. It is all enabled by Swarupa Shakti. Let's understand. All the three are part of the Swarupa Shakti. I hope you're with me and not getting lost. And the third one is the most important, Anand, the bliss. Bliss, which all of us are seeking. That is again part of the Swarupa Shakti. You know the irony, the paradox of our human life? We are asking God for the world, and we are asking world for the God. You know how? When we go to God, we ask for the world. I need baby, I need this, I need job, I need to marry somebody, I need to hit a lottery, whatever. We are asking world. When we go to the world, we are asking God, I need bliss from you. I need that perfect relationship from you. So from relationship, we are asking God, and from God, we are asking world. That is the paradox of our life. So God is bliss. There's absolutely no difference between God and bliss. And that is enabled through his Haladini Shakti. The essence of God, the Anand aspect, comes from his Haladini Shakti. Okay. So the important concept here to understand is all three are there. However, if you go deeper, Sat rolls into Chit. That means if you call God Satchidanand, that is a complete definition of God. However, if you call God Chidanand, that is also complete, because Chit is already covered in that. It's like that in IT they say, right? The objective encapsulation, you have all those objects underneath it. So Chit takes care of Sat part of it. Furthermore, if you go further, you say, no, Chidanand is also a long name for God. I can't remember God. You simply say Anand. That is also God. Anand is God. So Anand has Sat and Chit rolled up into it. Through Anand comes Chit, through Chit comes Sat. So God is Satchidanand. So the point here is, the Haladini Shakti is the supreme Shakti of God. Okay? Just to understand it simply. Satchidanand are the Swarupa Shakti aspect of God, and the Ananda Shakti is the supreme boss of God. The others are subservient to it. Okay. So the story doesn't end here. Now we have come to the essence of his Anand Shakti, which is Haladini Shakti. Let's go further now. I hope you're with me so far. Okay. Now let's get further. Now this Shakti is the supreme. It has the power of divine bliss in it. That is what we are seeking. And until we get that, we will not stop. We will continue this quest. We will continue to repeat. We will continue to desire. See, we are born with an intense desire for happiness. Right? In Buddhism, it is said, the four noble truths of Buddha, that there is misery in this world. The reason for misery is desire. You finish the desire, you finish the misery. Okay? So in X and Y axis, it's taking you to zero. Our scriptures say, no, you don't stop there. You take that desire and dovetail it towards God. You have eliminated misery, but you have not yet gotten bliss. So our scriptures tell us, in order to get that Haladini Shakti, you have to follow a process. Okay, you don't just stop at eliminating the misery alone. You just come from negative to zero. You have to go to positive as well. So the topmost prize of God is Haladini Shakti. Okay, the Anand is what we are seeking, being his eternal part. And Anand is the supreme Shakti of God. Okay, now let's go further. Does it stop here, Haladini Shakti? No, it doesn't. It goes much deeper now. Okay, now let's build on this. We came to this point that Swarupa Shakti, Krishna has three powers, the Jiva Shakti, Maya Shakti. Now I'm going to attempt to do this very, very deep and profound concept. Okay, I don't have any ability to do that. Trust me, nor do I have an eligibility to actually try to explain this concept. But then it's my fortune to be sitting here and you don't have a choice but to listen to me. So I'm going to give it a try. Okay, but obviously you need a lot of devotion and a certain stature to be able to do that. But at least theoretically, conceptually, I'll try to make you understand this. And it's a philosophy of Maharaj and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and it has been made accessible to us by Swamiji. And you will not find this knowledge anywhere. Okay, so what you are hearing right now is the topmost knowledge on this planet. So you can have goosebumps around that. So these are the three power. You will not be able to hear it somewhere. Okay, so but if you get this concept, you'll be pakka on that, right? So these are the three powers of God. Now within Swarupa Shakti, we said that the internal power is the highest. Amongst these three, Swarupa Shakti is highest, right? It is sentient. And within Swarupa Shakti, we came to this point that Haladini Shakti is the highest, right? We reached this point. Now the essence of the Swarupa Shakti is the Haladini Shakti. Now there's an essence of Haladini Shakti is divine love. The essence of divine love goes, the supreme essence of divine love is called Mahabhav, which we touched upon in those bhavs when we were studying, right? If you remember it, we had gone to this concept, maybe we will map it back. So the supreme essence of divine love is Mahabhav. That means if you were to experience divine love of God in Madhurya Bhav, the Mahabhav is the supreme essence. Okay, that is what Jivatmas can reach up to. Furthermore, the personified essence of this Mahabhav is called Sri Radharani. Okay, that is her introduction. Who is none other than our Divine Mother. Radhika Upanishad says, Ye Yam Radha Yashcha Krishna. Whatever is the Krishna, same is Radha. Whatever is Radha, same is Krishna. So in our case, our soul and body is different. In God's case, the soul and body are non-different. However, God has an ability to double the ras by, having that personified essence created as female form. He has an ability to do that. We cannot do that. I mean, it's a little different, right? How can you create something out of yourself and start loving it? In divine realm, it is possible. So just take it on face value for now. Both are same. And yet, the stature of Divine Mother in our scriptures is higher, because it is the power of God that enables him to do all the leelas, to take avatars, and bestowing grace aspect of it as well. Okay, both are same. And yet, this is the complete cycle if you look at it. God's power, Swarupa Shakti is top. Amongst Swarupa Shakti, Haladini Shakti is top. And within Haladini Shakti, there are gradations, and the supreme essence is Sri Radha Rani. So let's look at it through another angle, this concept. From a soul concept, just to simplify this, make it a little more tangible for us. Okay, this is us. Soul is what? That is our identity. That provides energy to the body. So Shakti of gross body is us. That is our identity, right? It is the body is energized by soul, which is us, Atma. The soul further is energized by the super soul, which is called Paramatma. Soul will not have its existence because it is energized by super soul, which we are fragment parts of. And the soul of super soul, if you have to simplify this whole thing, is Sri Radha. So our body is basically energized by our soul. Our soul's soul is super soul, which is Krishna in his personal form, and Krishna's soul is Radha. There is no difference between God and God's soul, by the way. And who is our divine mother? So that intimate relationship we have with our divine mother. Okay, more intimate than any other relationship we can possibly have. Now, constitutionally, what happens? Let's see. I hope I'm not getting too deep, but if, yeah, we can come back to that. So whichever thing energizes, the other thing automatically becomes its servant. Our body, the whole life, it is trying to satiate the soul. We see that, right? So if you look at it, our body is serving the soul. Soul is saying, give me happiness. Body is saying, okay, I'll give you happiness in Rasgulla. Okay, I'm not going to vilify Rasgulla. Somebody didn't like it the other day. Okay, I'll get happiness from here. I'll get happiness from this thing. So basically, the body is serving the soul in its quest for happiness. Right? It's a very simple principle. Now, soul, constitutional position is to serve Paramatma, which is energizing it. That soul has forgotten. That is why we are sitting here, to remind ourselves of that constitutional relationship we always had. It's in serving we get, it's in giving we get. Right? That doesn't come naturally to soul because soul is identifying itself with the mind-body complex. It thinks this is what my real identity is, and it starts feeding it things which will give its temporary kick, but not the lasting happiness that we are looking for. So our constitutional position is very simple. Whatever you are part of, whatever is energizing you, you serve it and you get things in return automatically. That is our constitutional position. And further, Paramatma is subservient to Divine Mother. That is what our scriptures say as well, right? So if you look at scriptures, Krishna actually presses Radha's feet in divine leelas. He becomes a servant of Radha because she enables his entire pastimes. So that is the constitutional relationship even God has with its soul. And that is what our Divine Mother is. I know it's a little deep concept. Just take it on face value, read it like eventually. Now, this is the, let's say, as a personality, you have different shades of personalities, right? Which have their own imperfections because we are Jivatma. But let's say you had a perfect part, the most loving, the most compassionate, the most beautiful part of your personality. If you had an ability to personify it, right? We don't have it, but God has it. So the most compassionate, the Kripalu, the all graceful part of it personified is Radha. The only thing she can do is mercy. So God has an ability to personify it and distill that part of his and, keep it as create a separate entity out of it for his divine pastimes as well. And anyways, I'll not get too deeper into it. So this is, let's leave it at that for now. So this is called Shakti, and then the God is called Shaktiman. So that relationship is of Shakti and Shaktiman. One is the energizing and the other is the energetic. Is there any difference? No. It is, the relationship is like milk and whiteness, inseparable. In Maharaji in Bhakti Shatak, he has written that Advitiya तो तत्व हैं इनमें भेद न मान राधे राधे. Krishna and Radha both they are advitiya. They are known different from each other. So don't consider any difference, when it comes to trying to understand them, that they are different. No. Furthermore, that Divine Mother, it manifests in different forms, right? Like Divine Father, he likes variety. Mother also likes variety. So the most loving, compassionate form, as per our scriptures, is Radha. When Shukdev was reciting Bhagavatam to Parikshit, he could not utter that word Radha, because if he would have uttered that word Radha, he would have gone into Samadhi. Okay? So he has indirectly referred to her as Ramya and other names. He had to complete that discourse to Parikshit for 7 days, right? Parikshit would have said, I told you I have 7 days left, and here you are sitting in Samadhi. So he had indirectly referred her. So when you get divine bliss, you can't even utter the word of your Ishtadev at that point. You say Ra and you will go into Samadhi. That is how powerful this name is. Now Radha Tattva, we have briefly touched upon it. We'll probably go into more deep depths in some other session. She manifests as Parvati, Durga, Kali, Lakshmi, Sita. They are non-different. Let's understand that. This is the same Divine Mother in different moods. Like same Divine Father in different moods, same Divine Mother in different moods. So Durga is basically, she administers this entire universe. So if you are a Mata Bhakt, it's no different basically. You are actually approaching the mother in an official mood. That's all. Right? So it's usually more, the mother's sweetest nature comes forth when she is in a very loving mood, right? And that is Radha. But if you prefer to go to your mom when she is in a, come in an office mood as Durga, that is fine too. Similarly, Parvati is a Shakti, Sita, Maya, they are all non-different. They're all the same. In fact, in Ramayana, in fact in Mahabharata, I'm saying the Krishna Leela, I used to tell Radha, you are the Sita, right? There's a reference actually where he's saying you were the Sita, right? In the previous one we had met. So there are a lot of references, cross references like that. So basically they are non-different. It's as simple as that. Now, whichever form our mind naturally get attracted towards, that becomes our Ishtadev. But the point here to be understand is the sweetness is multiplied. That is why we do Radhe Radhe, because that is the sweetest form or the most loving form of the mother, which our scriptures tell us. Pure. There's absolutely no tinge of anything else at all, right? In other moods, mother might be discharging some duty. In Kali Avatar, she's killing demons, right? And even as Durga, she does that as well. So those things are there, but in Radha, it's pure mercy at that point. Okay. So the key point here to understand is, like, there is no difference between Krishna, Ram, Shiva, and all the avatars. There's absolutely no difference between our Divine Mother. Whichever form we feel affinity, attraction towards, is perfectly fine. That becomes our Ishtadev, but they are non-different. We don't consider them different. That one is higher, the other is not. One was different, this was no. No, they are all the same. That is what our scriptures are telling. So that is the key concept here to be understood. All right. Any questions? Because I have put a discussion topic today that Radha Krishna, right? It's like milk and whiteness, and they do divine pastimes. God does leelas in his divine pastimes, and when he does leelas, he does extreme leelas, right? When he lost Sita in Ramayana, the way he was crying, even a common man would not cry when he loses his wife like that. Okay, he does extreme leelas there, but they are technically non-different. God has an ability to do all those leelas, and when he does his leelas, he's not simply acting. He actually makes himself forget as well at that point. He gets into the role, skin of the character. Not that he loses his powers, but he does that. Okay, just to multiply the ras. Right? God is a ras Sindhu, and the biggest rasya for that matter. We all like, right? That is what God does. So yes, Sri Ramya has raised her hand. So my question for today is, and then I'll take your question, Sri Ramya, you can think about the answer, is there any difference between direct worship of our Divine Father versus coming in through our Divine Mother? Right? Some people, they ask, why don't you do Hare Krishna directly or Hari Om? Why you guys keep on doing Radhe Radhe? So that's why I wanted to have a bit of a discussion, but let's hear from Shri Ramya. I think she has some question.
Radhe Radhe Shri Ramya ji.
Radhe Radhe, Sandhya ji, Nitin ji, Radhe Radhe all. So Nitin ji, I had one question for you. What I heard earlier is that Durga Devi, she is the mother for the material realm, and Radha, she is the mother for the spiritual realm. Was this wrong, or like, is this in a different perspective, or was my understanding wrong, which I had before?
Both are spiritual. It's not that one, but yeah, she's the administrator of this material universe, Durga. She's in official mode, right? She has to do justice and all that stuff. Radha only does kripa. She's in the pure kripa mode always. Same thing is with the Golok Vrindavan Krishna as well. In fact, he takes avatar through Vishnu and all. Sometimes he takes avatar, Purna avatar, the Golok Vrindavan Krishna also comes. But typically he said, okay, you take care of that. I've outsourced all that things. I will only do Premdan and play flute, okay? And do my pastimes here with the souls who have realized it in this form. But both are same. Yes, Durga is the in charge of material universe. That is correct. As a justice dispensing mother at that point, I should say.
Yes, thank you.
No, Radhe Radhe. Yes.
Samji, Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe, Nitin ji. I don't know the answer to the question, but I raised for asking the question. Some 2 days ago or so, I was asking this, what does it mean by, oh Radhe, please bestow me with divine love and grace. But no one seemed to be interested in answering this question. I did not get answer, but I thought this is the apt right time to ask you.
Right, they say na, Radhe Radhe, Sham se mila de. And then there is another one I forgot that agar ra ki ruktana na hoti to radhe sham adhe sham ho jate. So it's like you approach father through your mother. It's just like that, right? Small child, when he has to get something done from his father, he'll go through his mother and it becomes an easier route. It's a sweeter relationship. That's pretty much it. In fact, the second aspect of it is, right, a lot of people from ISKCON, they might be able to relate to it. When you do Shaktiman worship, when you reach the peak of it, you realize that even the worship of Shaktiman is adhuri or not complete without doing the upasana or worship of Shakti. So at the peak, it will become Radhe Radhe there as well. So it's better to start right from the word go. Why not do that itself? That is made available to us by Maharaj-ji and all. So Shakti, Shaktiman both have to be worshipped. In fact, both keeping there, and then it's just a route you take. If you go through mother, it becomes sweeter and easier. And Radha, it's like she's grace and love personified. That is why we do Radhe Radhe and build a relationship like that. I hope that answered part of it. Yeah. So Radhe Radhe, Sham se mila de. That is the whole thing that people say. So.
Yeah. Actually, I also wanted to add one thing, like in answer to your question. My brother was also attending the session, and he said that as you taught that Radha Rani is the soul of the super soul, so it makes it easier to go through her route to achieve Krishna Bhakti. Yeah.
Yeah, Krishna Bhakti. Yeah, she Premdan and Krishna Bhakti is like at her feet basically. So you go through Radha, it becomes even more sweeter. Shyamji became very happy, when I said Radhe Radhe, Shyam se mila de. So.
Okay, so let's take up Shyamji. Radhe Radhe Shyamji.
Radhe Radhe Swati, Sandhya, Radhe Radhe bhai. One thing, it took me 2, 3, 4 years to come to Shri Krishna. And now you're saying go to Radha Rani. Ab kya karna hai, bata do bhai.
No. What I'm saying, that's fine. It's all the same. But if you keep Shakti and Shaktiman together, it's even better. That's what I'm saying. You can fast track it if you go to Radha Rani. That's about it. It's the same.
So you need to change the route again.
No, you don't have to change the route.
Go through mother to go to father.
I'm telling you, this is very, very easy transition at all. I'm telling you, you don't have to do something. I'm not saying you go to Radha and not do both. It's you just understand it in perspective. Both are same, right? So you build a motherly relationship and fatherly, and it's perfectly fine. It's not a very complicated matter, so to say, in your head, so to say. Stick to the concept. So it's easy. I mean, I don't see it as a big burden on my head now. What's going to happen now? I used to think about Krishna. It'll be pretty seamless.
Same thing, either way. You want to say?
Yeah.
It's the same thing, either way. Either I go to Krishna or Radha, I am there. Is that so?
Oh yeah, both are same. I said, right? They are inseparable. They're both the same actually. Shakti and Shaktiman, there's absolutely no difference. Milk and whiteness. I'm just explaining you the deeper concept about Shakti and Shaktiman and why we do Radhe Radhe. Doesn't mean that you have to do something different. So just explaining.
Yeah, we do the same thing only. We say Radhe Radhe and we say Krishna. When we go to Banke Bihari, we always say Banke Bihari. We don't say Radha Rani. And there also we only see the Murti of Banke Bihari is there. And in different places we have a Murti of Radha Rani with Krishna. So that's the way it is portrayed everywhere.
Yes.
And normally Radha Rani is not as worshipped as Krishna. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. That's what I think. But after today's class,
not many
things
people,
are much clearer, much better.
Not many people understand as well, right? Who was Radha Rani? Not many people understand. Yeah. They simply, a lot of people, they come, I think Radha was, she had an affair with Krishna, okay? But Krishna did not marry her. Why didn't, so those kind of questions people are hung up with. They don't understand the deeper concept about who is Radha Rani actually. Barsane wali Radha Rani is, so see, I'll tell you, the most prized possession of God is divine love, and she's the personified form of it. Okay, so it's not going to be easily accessible. When you have something very, very precious, where do you keep it in home? You will keep it under a locker, under a box, and wrap it 3-4 layers. Same thing as the Radha concept. It is not something God is distributing just like that. So when you do manthan of scriptures or come in contact with the Rasik saint, they will make you understand these. That's why I said, I put a disclaimer. I don't have the ability. I'm explaining you because at least theoretically I've understood. Right? These are very deep concepts. You'll not come to hear about it just like that. Okay. But Maharajji and Swamiji has made it accessible for us, at least theoretically, knowledge-wise. But it needs a lot of grace of God to actually get into the depths of these bhaktis and get the grace that we are talking about here. Okay. But theoretically, I mean, we can always try to understand that. So Radha is a very, very deep concept. It's not like an ordinary love affair where, they married and people say, why didn't they marry and this and that. In so many janmas, they might have married. The reference that we have, they did not. She came first, Krishna came next. In some cases, Krishna comes first. That can happen. So we don't have to put our buddhi around that concept. If you understand who's Radha, is actually the Shakti aspect of God. Radha, Sita, Parvati, Kali, Durga, they are all the same. And Shakti, Shaktiman is the relationship which is inseparable. Lakshmi, Narayana are inseparable. Sita, Rama are inseparable. Right? Shiva, Parvati are inseparable. They just manifest as two forms in divine leelas. That's all it is.
There are a couple of chat messages as well, so I'll just read a few of them.
Sure.
Urviji says,
feedback tracker as well. Yes, Urvi, go ahead.
Yeah. Urviji says, I don't think there is much difference, but Sri Radha is more graceful than Sri Krishna. And also when we say Radhe Radhe, I think we specify to Lord Krishna that we are looking for is Radha Raman and not any other form of Krishna. And Radha Rani is Avdhar Dani. Maharaji says, Radhe Radhe bol, Shyam भागे चले आएंगे, एक बार आ गए तो कभी नहीं जाएंगे. Radhe Radhe.
Very true. So they are actually, it's like the Krishna's, they are same basically, right? But Radha is, they say that Radha's depth of love, even Krishna doesn't understand. Okay, now these concepts, they start getting much deeper now. It's the same personality. How can I not understand myself, right? But he doesn't understand scriptures say, and sometimes he takes avatar just to understand those depths. It is said that the separation that Radha feels Now, what is separation? They are both the same. How will you determine that separation? But yes, in divine realm, they say the separation that Radha feels about Krishna. There are three layers, right? In science, we would have learned there are three layers. There's an outer layer of a fire, which is a boundary, and then there's a luminous zone, and then there's another zone. So just that smoke, hazy layer, even if that hazy layer, which is not even hot, okay, if that hazy layer of separation, this universe is subjected to, it will burn to ashes. This is what scriptures say. Now, theoretically, you can think, okay, they are explaining it. They're very deeper concepts. So that level of, although they are inseparable, but still in divine realm, that much love they have for each other, which is inconceivable. The depths are inconceivable. And God takes avatar at times in the soul of Radha, body of Krishna, just to experience that vira, or the depths of love that she experiences. In order to experience himself, God has to take avatar at times. And there is a place of Mahabhav, which is reserved only for Radha. Even Krishna cannot understand that. It is a scripture saying. Now we're getting into very, very deep concepts here, but that is how it goes. Okay. Theoretically, just this value, yeah. We say even Krishna cannot understand the depths of it. That is the relationship that they have. It's not an ordinary relationship of a boy, girl, and all that kind of stuff. Okay.
Yeah, there's a very beautiful, funny comment as well from Urviji, which says, and Maharajji also says, when we say Ra, then Shri Krishna ceases and is very eagerly waiting for our Dhe. So you can also enjoy teasing Krishna like this.
Oh yeah, no, that's true. In the pastime, it is said that when you start progressing in bhakti, under the obviously, and you have a Shotriya Brahmanishta Guru, right? And you start progressing in bhakti, they will start showing you the jhankis of God, those pastimes that you would have not heard or seen anywhere. Okay, that kind of a bliss you can relish at that time. They will show you all those jhankis. So that is what, again, theoretically, I'm telling you, I've heard about all these things. These are very, very fascinating possibilities, as you progress on this path. But since we are having this discussion, I thought, okay, why not talk about that as well? Yes, let's hear.
Yeah, and just there are two more quick questions. So Preeti ji asked so do I understand even Radha and Meera are same because they worship Krishna with same profundity?
No. So within that also there are Radha is a different league altogether. Now when we talk about gopis, Jiva Atmas, they are ordinary souls. Radha and Krishna, they are not ordinary, right? Krishna is God, Radha is goddess personified. Within gopis, there are three categories. One is called Sadharani Rati, one is called Samanjasya Rati, and one is called Samartha Rati. Sadharani Rati loves God for her own sake. Samanjasya Rati loves God for their own sake as well as for the sake of God. Samartha Rati only loves it for the sake of God. Okay, so there are categories. Meera is basically, I'm not sure if she falls into any of those categories. Probably Samartha Rati may not be even that. But gopis were much higher. Meera was not considered even in Gopi Bhav for that matter. So and Radha and Meera comparison is like chalk and cheese. We have not understood the concept. There's absolutely no comparison there at all. Because Radha is God personified herself. Rest all are Jivatmas who may have that eligibility, but not at the level of Radha, no matter what we do.
Yeah, so I guess, there's another question by Sri Ramya ji, which is Rukmini Devi also manifestation of Radharani?
Yes, they do that avatar, they are Ansh avatars. So Rukmini falls into Samartha Rati, Samanjasya Rati category, where 50-50. Okay, 50% for ourselves, 50% for God. She falls into that, but they are all Ansh avatar of Lakshmi, and which is in turn avatar of Radha only. These are all divine leelas they do.
Okay, so I think let's start hearing from our participants who have raised hand, and I will in the meanwhile post the feedback link tracker and announcements, and I think I can share the slides later.
Sure.
Meena ji, Radhe.
Yeah, we can take one participant, you can share the slides and then we'll take the rest.
Sure. Meena ji, Radhe.
Radhe Radhe, Radhe Radhe Nitinji. Beautiful session today regarding the Mother's Day special about the Radharani. So the question, is there any difference between direct worship of our Divine Father was coming in through our Divine Mother? No, there is no difference. So it's easier to go via mom than to go via dad. So that's how my answer would be. So moms are really more compassionate, like since it's Mother's Day special, it's anything, even as a child, even in a regular material life, what do we see? If you want really something yummy, you go to mom first. Mommy, can you just please tell dad to fulfill this wish for me? If a student is failed in the exam, you go to mom and say, dad, can you please pacify dad? So in the same way, worshipping Radharani is more easier to reach Krishna. So because it's the same thing, again, as we have discussed, just the energy which is just lying in a different form. And you can really, if you really want to know more about Radharani, like how our Kripaluji Maharaj is a personification of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, I would definitely recommend go and read Srila Prabhupada's Chaitanya Charitamrita by the Rupa Goswami. No, not Rupa Goswami. Yeah. So because I've read that, so I know, especially in Antya-Leela, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he, with the Radharani Bhav, when he misses Krishna, he sees Krishna everywhere. You look at him, the Antya-Leela, you will be in tears. So I would definitely, people who have questions on, why Radha is different, or the concepts, whatever we discussed, it really makes sense. And it is not possible for an ordinary soul like us to understand those things. Great Jnanis, even great Rishi, Narada himself says in Bhagavatam, I cannot understand Krishna. It is not possible for any one of us here to, that divine grace can, even Krishna gave divine vision to Arjuna to see his Vishwaroop in Bhagavad Gita, we know that. So it's not at all possible for an ordinary soul which is contaminated with so much of contamination. Yes, it's been lying there. So Cheto Darpanam Arjanam, the Shishtastakam of Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So the very first line, it says Cheto Darpanam Arjanam. So that our soul, which is covered by, its conditioned soul, is covered by so much of dirt. It's very difficult to wash all that. So it's only by the grace of the Guru, if we get washed off, we can really understand who is Radha, who is Krishna, and so on. Radhe Radhe, everyone.
Thank you. Beautiful. Thank you, Leelaji. Wonderful. Thank you. Loved hearing it from you. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you, Meena.
To really quickly show slides and then we can continue our discussion. Quite a few hands are there.
Yeah. So I think you'll have to stop sharing.
Whole day ahead of you, so no worries at all. Go ahead.
Yeah. You'll have to stop share, then I'll start sharing.
Okay, sure. It's a beautiful discussion. I'd like to hear from all of them today. So,
okay, can you see the slides?
Yeah, we can.
So yeah, the first announcement is about connecting with the Radha Krishna temple through social media. So these are the tags, and I think it will be great if this is also part of Seva. So please feel free to connect via Facebook, Twitter, and
if you have not joined Facebook, RKT Dallas, please do that. Like I said, our video team puts in a lot of hard work. Your 2 minutes of Seva can go a long way. And spreading the word around and all the efforts that go behind the scene to put together such big events, please do sign up and look at it and, put some engaging comment around it. It really boosts that video's rankings. That is how the algorithms work in these. So please do check it out and enroll for it. That'll be a huge help.
Yeah, and there you'll find out all the events, videos. Like I think on Sunday in the temple, we had a Mother's Day celebration, right? So everything comes up there and it's blissful to watch it.
Yep.
Okay. Next is the fundraiser, which is for education and healthcare. We had a amazing milestone session as well, which I hope a lot of you attended. So please feel free to check out the link and contribute in whatever way.
Donate generously, spread the word around, and help out as best as you possibly can. So by the way, we had kids doing their lemonade stands this weekend, which is pretty amazing. And I've heard that they've raised about $1,000 just by selling lemonades and
Wow.
some other stuff. So that's pretty amazing.
Then, as you all know, Swamiji is in US and he's visiting different cities. So check out this link and see if you can get the bliss of attending the live transformation sessions with Swamiji.
Yes, please. Okay.
International Festival of Yoga is coming up from June 15 to 21st. And the link, I think I've shared it as well. And please feel free
So
to
this
register.
festival is going to be pretty amazing. Check it out. It's going to be online as well, and we'll do hybrid. Some pretty renowned personalities are going to be part of this. Some who's who of yoga, sound therapy, and pretty interesting ensemble if you look at it, right? Nitai Sevani, I think Sadhguru, Swamiji is always there. Very well-known names. So do check it out. It's going to be a out and out, very, very interesting event. So check it out as well.
Then the family camp, which is from June 24th to 30th. So if you haven't registered yet, register and come enjoy this spiritual retreat.
Accommodation is not an issue. You'll find it. We have a very motivated group of devotees who will create space. They would sleep outside, but give you their bedroom. So accommodation will never be a problem here. I'm just kidding. Let's do sign up and travel. You're going to love this time of the year. So please do check it out.
This have daily lectures on Bhagavad Gita by Swamiji as well as Gopi Geet, and I think very many engaging sessions. So
yeah. Thank
there
you.
is this contest. Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, that's it. I think this is the last one, the Reels contest. So if you want to participate, feel free to participate. And yeah. Okay, I think this is it. I'll stop.
Sure.
Okay, so we'll start taking.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rahulji, Radhe Radhe.
So I attended one of the local satsang centers yesterday. So they talked about Braj Ras Madhuri. So 2 lines I would like to recite from that because it's stuck in my head. O Ma Shama Teri, Jo Charan Sharan Jaye. O Mother Shama, one who surrenders to your lotus feet. Maya ki kaun kahe, Maya pati ghabraye. Makes not only Maya, but the Lord of Maya, Sham Sundar or Shri Krishna afraid. Radhe Radhe.
Beautiful. Very true. That is how powerful influence mother has over father, okay? So you can imagine if you go through mother, how quickly it can happen. Shyamji, not to get confused again, okay? Yes. All right.
Swati ji, Radhe Radhe.
Yeah, Radhe Radhe. I also wanted to add something to this only because whatever I wanted to say, some of them already told that, even though I'll just repeat it again. That I have also heard from the Maharajji only that Krishna also loves this Radhe Radhe because Krishna himself chants each and every pore, the Radhe comes from his body. So he wants everybody to chant Radhe instead of the Krishna Krishna. He becomes more happy and Krishna loves that name. So he wants everybody to chant that name. And through Radhe only we can please Krishna and get his grace. By Radhe, if you chant Radhe and Krishna, what happens? So we get the bliss of Radha also and we get the bliss of Krishna also. Yep. Like mother, she is loving, caring, sweet, soft, affectionate, and father is little strict. So Krishna is little strict. He doesn't easily get melted by all this sadhana and all that. But mother, like Radharani, she easily gets melted and then she will easily grace us. So we can get the bliss of both Radha and Krishna. So there is no difference actually.
Very true. In fact, it is said in one of the stories, Radharani, she picks up like through her hand some insects. Okay, when she looks at it, she picks up some mud and sees some insects. And all of a sudden, she's Kripa personified. She said, oh my God, did I hurt you? Okay, let me make you human. And she said, no, let me just make you human and also give you a guru. She said, no, let me make you human, give you a guru and become your guru, come as your guru as well. That is how Kripa, my Radharani is. Okay, all right, let's hear from other participants as well.
Yeah, Surender ji, Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe Nitin ji. Radhe, thank you. I just attended the last part of the Sanskrit session prior to this session. Radhe. Radhe, to my understanding, means of Radhe. So when we when we say Radhe, it includes the Supreme Soul, Supreme Lord. So that is how I understand that by chanting Radhe, we are in fact addressing the Lord. And Radha Rani is the personification of Adya Shakti. Basically, the Big Bang story starts with Adya Shakti only. So from that, everything comes.
Yep.
So, Kali Mata, etc., whatever name we have given. So therefore, I understand Radhe includes in fact, the name of the Krishna also, because of the Y attached to Radha.
Great point.
Radhe
Radhe, thank you so much. Yeah, we are going really deep today. Let's hear. I can see a few more hands.
Yeah, Pragya ji, Radhe.
Radhe Radhe Nitin, Radhe Radhe Sandhya and everyone. Yeah, such a beautiful topic. Or yeah, I want to quote from Bhakti Shatak, the very starting line, the first line of Bhakti Shatak is Advitya ek tattva hai, Radha tattva pradhan, Radhe Radhe या को दो जो रूप है स्वयं कृष्ण भगवान राधे राधे. Even the next line is एक ही है, Radha और Krishna, they are the same, and Krishna just took another form to see how much Radha Rani loves him. And so the next line is जोई राधा सोई कृष्ण है, इनमें भेद न मान राधे राधे. Yeah, Nitin had elaborated that one is the Shakti and another is the Shaktiman. So it's just so beautiful. As Rahul ji had also put, Maya ki kaun kahe, Mayapati घबराए. तो जिनको सारी दुनिया पूछती है, वो किसको पूछते हैं? मुरली में गावे श्याम राधे राधे राधे, मन मन भावे अति रूप ध्यान साधे. So yeah, I think coming to Maharaj ji and his teachings and his bhajans, we have all become so Radhamay. We even feel the love when someone says Radhe Radhe. It's so, we can feel the nectar, the sweetness, which Radhe Rani is embodiment of, like all the love and everything. And I can't explain more than that, but yeah, it's really, really beautiful for this exposure through Maharaj ji and Swami ji. Thank you, Radhe Radhe.
Thank you, beautiful. Those two verses you brought to life today, like you always do. Yes, it's a very profound topic, so it will grow on us. Let me just put it that way. It will definitely grow on us, and we are extremely fortunate to be even discussing it. Okay, whatever depth we can acquire out of it will be pretty amazing. So thank you so much, Pragya, for that. All right, two more hands. Let's take that quickly, and please fill out the feedback tracker in the meantime. Tomorrow, by the way, I want to remind you, we're back to 4.13. We'll talk about the caste system and how Bhagavad Gita is, what Bhagavad Gita is telling us about it. And we're going to challenge some of the stereotypes associated with it as well tomorrow. Okay. Yes, let's hear from the other participants.
Yeah, Rupa ji, Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe, everyone. Mine is, it's a small question that even the Krishna always chants Radharani's name, Radhe Radhe, and he asks everyone, like she's because the divine mother and she's the soul of super souls. But in this materialistic world, we never see any Radharani's idol anywhere. If it is there, it will be with Krishna. But so many Krishna temples are there where only single Krishna's idol is there, where Radharani's importance is not ever seen anywhere. Why so?
People don't have knowledge. This is, I said, this treasured possession of God and of scriptures. It's not easily accessible to people. We are fortunate you are hearing it. So that's why I told you this knowledge is not easily accessible, nor it is understood. And this is the most treasured possession of our scriptures. Only when you will progress to a certain level and you will come in contact with a God-realized saint will you get to understand the depths of this. It's not easily available anywhere at all. And that is why if you talk about Radha, most of the people will not even understand. They will talk about it like any other, right, person in that avatar.
But maybe as humans,
if you go to temple, Radha Krishna is always there. There's a Radha Krishna temple there. Right? Radha is always there next to Krishna, but the concept of who Radha is not easily understood. It's not easily accessible either.
Maybe as humans, we don't have that understanding as humans, but because see the Dwapar Yuga, Treta Yuga, from that time onwards, there are idols of Rama or Krishna or anyone. At that time, at least people were more knowledgeable than us. From that time onwards, they would have started the Radha's idols and Radha's temples. Maybe people might have known the importance of, because we are mostly believed on Roop Dhyan, right? So maybe that's my perception actually.
No, Radha Krishna temple are there, right? Radha is there next to Krishna. You can see it a lot of places, but then the theory around it is not something you will get to know so easily. It will grow on you if you come in contact with a Rasik saint, not even with a regular saint. In fact, it is said that the Krishna prem is very durlabh. It's not something everybody gets. And Radha Krishna prem, that divine love, that spark of that, only a Rasik saint can give you. A lot of gurus will simply tell you that we are not capable of giving you that. They will simply tell you. So these are the depths when you start progressing in this path. Only a Rasik saint has an ability to give you that spark of love for Radha Krishna. Not everybody can do that, because these are the very deeper principles we are talking about in spirituality. So these concepts will grow on us. If God graces us, that's why I keep on saying we are fortunate we are even talking about this concept, okay, without having any eligibility. But yeah, what I'm telling you is that if we have the fortune of coming in contact with a Rasik saint, God-realized saint, then you will feel that spark, and then it will just make sense. You'll have no questions whatsoever. It will just become clear.
Yeah. Padmaji, sorry for keeping you on wait. Radhe Radhe.
Padmaji, Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe. We all agree that we are not there to really understand, the depth and the magnanimity of how it's supposed to feel. But I think at least we can try to, these questions that we ask ourselves, as we say, the secret is actually in the pudding when you actually try it. And I can speak from my own experience. When I really struggle, when I go to temple and I sit in front of Radha Krishna, and I really have to focus on something, I really have to bring in that bhakti bhav or the devotion that I have to. And when you really beg and focus through Radharani, you will see that not the spark that we are talking about, that the very enlightened and the level that we're talking about, but with your own capacity that you're feeling, and then the way that you make the connection with God, it makes it really easy. And you have to try it to really feel, and this knowledge which we are talking about, to actually not the functional part of the mind, but the conscious part of the mind. If you really want to experience what we are talking about, you really have to experiment and sit in front of Radha Krishna and then beg that process of through Radha Rani to say, what, I'm really struggling and you really help me. And you would see those baby steps. And I always say those baby steps, right? Those baby steps that you need, you will feel it. How would you feel it? I can only express how I feel it. I feel like I'm crying my heart out versus I'm just crying. We can always cry, I feel like we cry in many, many different situations, a loss of something or a pain or hurt or whatever. But there are some moments in your life when you're actually crying your heart out. And we say these words, but when you really go through this depth and you're consciously sitting in that state of mind, you can experience that your heart is crying out through your tears. that you have to experiment yourself and see what does it feel like to go through Radharani, rather than saying to our mind, oh, I don't know how it's supposed to be. I don't know, right? If you really want to understand, I feel like we can make that attempt to beg Radharani and say, you know what, I want to go through you. I want to get to Krishna and I'm not able to focus. And you would see that little, whatever, that tiny micro, whatever that thing that we are capable of in our conditioned and dirty mind that we are in.
Beautiful point. You said the proof is in the pudding. So if you have gotten Padmaji's testimonial on her own experience around it, I don't think you would need any other proof around it. So thank you so much for sharing that, Padmaji. I know it's a matter of experience. When you shed those tears with a pure heart in front of God, it's like Nirasharit, God, I just need your help. So even the material mother comes running when the baby cries. Where we are talking about divine mother, it has to happen. She has no choice but to intervene. That is how powerful this relationship is. But we are not able to get to that stage. We do get to it at times of desperation, or if we have reached that level. But if we can cry it in front of them, obviously they have to come. There's no choice. What come? They just have to manifest. They're already here. Thank you so much for sharing that, Padmaji. I think it puts a lot of things in perspective, right? And it's backed with somebody's experience. That's true.
Thank you, Padmaji. Meenuji, Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Meenuji.
Radhe Radhe. I really want to congratulate Nitinji and some of the devotees, how they have explained, Radha Tattva. It's absolutely, it's a truth, very only God realized saints can explain the meaning of, Radha Tattva. And since my childhood, I was brought up, with the Krishna Bhakti, only Krishna. So even I asked, my mom's guru, about Radha Rani, and they were, actually, they were not able to, satisfy my whatever I was asking, So since beginning, I was searching for Radha Tattva and some guru to, show me the knowledge who Radha Rani was and what these people were talking about, like, they had no clue, what they were saying, because they were thinking in the material sense, everything. So when I met Maharaji, and then in front of me, Maharaji made this temple, Kirti Kumari Mandir in Barsana, which is one of the kind. And nobody knows, forget about Radharani, nobody knows about even Kirti Maiya. So, and that temple, I highly recommend to everybody to go to Barsana and visit. It's one of the kind. And it was built, and Prem Mandir was built in front of me, Bhakti Mandir, Maharaji's Mandir, everything. And the, university kind of also. So, and how he has explained, it has removed all the, suspiciousness or whatever, we had so many questions, completely satisfied. And I have seen and witnessed myself, whatever Maharaji has said about Bhav and this thing, I have seen it myself, experienced it myself with Maharaji. So this is what I can tell you, I have experienced it myself. It's not I'm, just saying like that. And I'm surprised, how you have so much knowledge and you are explaining all this, It's amazing. Thank you.
Thank you, Meenuji, for sharing your own experience. She's one of our devotees, very, very inspirational devotees. And if you see her background, she already has Golok, where she does her bhakti there. Thank you, beautiful Meenuji. You can see her in her voice, right? It's all backed with experience. And if you see some of the senior devotees, Meenuji being one of them, I've met, you can just make out, the experiences they've had, which they had the fortune of meeting Maharaji, not people like me. And it's very inspiring to meet them, hear from them, and it gives us more strength and reason to continue progressing on this path so that we can also experience some of these things one day. Thank you so much for sharing that, Meenuji.
Yeah, thank you, Meenuji. And I think this is quite inspiring that I should also plan on visiting Barsana and see all these places.
Yeah, you cannot go faster than us, okay? Not allowed, sorry. No, please.
I'll take you there virtually.
No, please go ahead. You seem to be on a fast track, which is amazing, which is very nice. So make the most of it, okay? Because you have all the inspiration right now. Great. Okay.
Yeah. Asha ji, Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe, Asha ji.
Radhe Radhe. It is true that before listening to Swamiji's lectures on Radha Tattva, we could not understand the real depth of the Radha Tattva. और ये आपने जैसे कहा नितिन जी की रसिक वो गॉड रियलाइज्ड संत जैसे सूरदास जो कभी हमने नहीं सुनी थी वैसी झांकियां वो कृष्ण अपने पदों में वर्णन कर कर गए और हम उसका वो आनंद लेते हैं जैसे आपने कहा। तो वो दृष्टि अगर हमें मिले तभी हम दोनों को अभिन्न अद्वैत देख सकते हैं। वैसे हमारे स्क्रिप्चर में शिव का अर्धनारीश्वर स्वरूप है ही, अलग है ही नहीं दोनों। तो अगर हमको वो दृष्टि प्राप्त हो बाय द ग्रेस ऑफ गॉड, जैसे कि हम आज ये इस बारे में बात कर रहे हैं, वही भी आपने जैसे कहा कि इट्स द नो वर्ड्स फॉर दैट ग्रेस। तो इतनी एक बिंदु जैसी पात्रता भी अगर मिले तो हम उसका अनुभव जैसे कहा पद्मा जी ने और भी पार्टिसिपेंट्स ने, उसका थोड़ा सा भी बूंद जैसा अनुभव हमें मिले तो हमारा जन्म कृतार्थ हो जाए। तो ये दृष्टि मिलना बहुत ही बड़ी बात है। और अगर हम ये भाव प्रकट करते हैं तो कृष्ण की एक मूर्ति में भी आपको राधा का एहसास होगा। जो कहते हैं कि कृष्ण के एक अकेले मूर्ति में राधा जी क्यों नहीं, तो we can develop that emotion and that's the main thing। और यही तो प्राप्त करने का है इस सब जर्नी में। तो धीरे धीरे और हम लोग खुश नसीब हैं कि हम लोग ऐसे बात करते हैं और आप सबसे प्रेरणा और नॉलेज मिलते। थैंक यू सो मच।
धन्यवाद।
नो वर्ड्स फॉर
बहुत अच्छे है आशा जी, आपके बहुत अच्छा लगा सुन के और बहुत इंस्पिरेशन मिलती है। आई थिंक टुडे's session is one of the wonderful sessions. Purely coincidental happened on Mother Day, but it was pretty beautiful and people came forth with their experiences and their realizations about Radha Tattva and Radha Rani. So very, very nice. Okay, we can see 2 more hands, so we can really quickly take those and wrap it up in next 2 minutes, I guess, 2 or 3 minutes.
Yeah. And I mean, I just wanted to add that there have been so many beautiful comments, and I would just request that maybe we haven't been able to attend to all of them. So please put them in the feedback tracker and so that it gets conveyed further.
Please put all anything, any questions or otherwise as well. I would really like to read through those if we didn't get a chance to read here.
Yeah. So we have 3 hands raised, and I think if we can quickly wind up, so maybe 30 seconds each. Okay, Aarti ji, Radhe Radhe. I'm unable to unmute her.
Aarti ji, your audio is usually challenging.
Okay, I'll move ahead for now. Ajit ji, Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe. Actually, I read somewhere that appropriate word is the Radha. Actually, Radha Tattva. Somebody has told recently, last comment. And just like Om is having some vibrations in the mind. So I just suggest that let us try to distinguish between these two and experience what is the difference we are getting inside, internally. Radha and Radhe, there is a difference.
Maharaj ji used to say, see, you take that challenge for 10 days. I have not taken it. I tried to do that, but I failed. Okay, I'll openly admit that. You take that challenge for 10 days and tell me what difference it brought in your thoughts. Okay?
No question of 10 days. You just try for 10 minutes. That's all.
Yeah, no.
And try to realize experience.
Solidify. Yeah, 10 minutes is also good. Just do that. That's it. Ra, when you take your breath in, dhe when you put it out. Okay, consciously do it for 10 days and it will change your life. He gave that challenge, and not many of us can do that. Even after hearing that, it's not easy. It will take something to do that. Find those 10 days, do it, and see what happens.
And secondly, no doubt about it, this importance of the Radha. Seeing the importance of mother is next to God. So it's functionally, actually, in principle, motherhood, what we get from mother, we don't get from the father. So this is the difference.
Very true.
And you see that there is no Ram temple. There are a lot of Hanuman temples are there. But Ram is the main thing. But we don't find many temples. So similarly, Radha is the tattva which is hidden, not known to everybody. What you say is very appropriate and very true, that none of us has realized the importance of Radha.
Very true.
Radhe, Radhe.
We'll have more. Very, very nice, Sajji. Thank you. Wonderful points. Great points. So do we have time, Sandhya? You could drop off. I can see few hands. I can stick around. The session is officially over, but I'll stick around for any questions that you may have, so that we can let participants go, and especially Sandhya, if you need to go. We can stop the recording as well, but I can continue with a few, if they need to ask any questions.
Yeah, I think there are 3 hands. Maybe we can quickly try and cover. Yeah.
It's still officially over. Okay. So yes, I can stick around for a bit.
Should I stop recording right now, or maybe I can wait till?
No, if you want to wait, if you want to move on, please do that. But I'll take the remaining hands because it's a Radha topic going on today, Radharani. So let's complete that. But feel free to drop. I don't want to hold everybody off.
Sure.
I'm going to stick.
Yeah, Aarti ji, Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe, ma'am. Radhe Radhe, everyone. Radhe Radhe, Nitin ji. I have heard in any of the discourses that when Krishna sees his face in water, the reflection is of Radha. And when Radha sees her face in water, the reflection is of Krishna. Same happens when they see mirror. If Krishna sees mirror, he sees Radha into that. And Radha sees mirror, she sees Krishna over there in the mirror. So they are so much immersed into it. They are one. And it is really blissful. We take either of the name, but mother, as we experience, is more approachable because she melts to the demands of the child. So whether we take the name of Krishna, still Radha will be happy. If we take the name of Radha, Krishna will be happy, and both are one. So that way is also it goes. That is what I wanted to share.
In one of the sessions, maybe I could do, beautiful point, Artiji. I think you made the point. I'll do a session on Jhulan Leela of Radha Krishna. That's a very interesting concept. When I heard it for the first time, I was like, I kept on thinking about how beautiful that concept is. Maybe in one of the sessions we'll do that again. I did it once, but we'll do it again. Let's quickly hear from other participants as well. Thank you so much, Artiji. Beautiful points.
Yeah. Sandhya ji, Radhe Radhe. Sandhya ji.
Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
Sandhya calling Sandhya. Yes.
Radhe Radhe. Am I audible?
Sure.
Hello. Am I audible, madam?
Yeah, you are audible.
Yeah, this auspicious occasion, what is Mother's Day, on that same day, Tyagaraja Swami Jayanti is also happened this year. So he was written on Amma Tulasi Devi, a great composition by Sri Saint Tyagaraja Swami that I want to share. Is it okay? If time permits, only I will.
30 seconds, not more than that, Sandhya ji.
Okay, thank you so much.
Say no, you wanted to say.
Tulasamma nanu parimpu mamma satatamu padamu neno minanamma ammaravoma నీ మృదుతనును గని నీ పరిమళమును గని నీ మహత్యమును గని నీరజాక్షి తామరస దళనేత్రి త్యాగరాజుని నేత్రి तामरस दलनेत्री त्यागराजुनि नेत्री प्रेमतो शिरमुలను पेटुकुన్నాడట ప్రేమతో శిరములను పేటుకున్నాడట అమ్మ రావమ్మ తులసమ్మ మము పాలింపు మమ్మ సతతము పదములే నమ్మినానమ్మ అమ్మ రావమ్మ. Thank you so much, Radhe Radhe. This is the meaning that Saint Tyagaraja is welcoming Divine Mother. And he is saying, I believe, your feet. Ni mridu tanuhu means what is Radha qualities, everything. Whatever we are imagining here, he addressed Tulasamma. If we are imagining Radha Devi, the beautiness and the kindness, everything is here described in his composition. On this auspicious day, I want to share this one. Thank you so much.
Beautiful, Sandhya ji. You seem like a very trained singer, and it was so melodious. Loved it. Sandhya, I hope we have recorded it. Okay, it will come out really well.
Yeah, it is recorded, and it was very beautiful.
I'm glad we didn't stop the recording as yet. Thank you so much, Sandhya ji, for sharing that Saint Tyagaraja's composition. Loved it. Very melodious.
Yeah.
Hear from you more often. All right. Last but not the least, Urvi.
Yeah, Urvi ji, Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe. Actually, I had a question. Since we're talking about Radharani and relating it to mother, I wanted to ask that I cannot relate to Radharani as a mother. I think of her as a friend, and like there's a gang of girls and she's the leader of a gang, something like that. And actually, Maharaji is not different from Radharani, and I have those sentiments of a mother for Maharaji. And I think of Ammaji residing within him. And then I think Maharaji is my mother. But I cannot think of Radharani as my mother. But I think of her as a friend. So is that all right?
I think you have that privilege, Urvi. So you're one of the Ashtasakis, who knows? But that's good. I mean, if those emotions naturally and you feel comfortable with that, God doesn't mind that at all. So feel free to, and the more proximity, the more informality you bring to that relation, the better it is. So go for it. I think that's a very unique situation that you are in. People struggle with building a relationship, and if it's coming naturally to you, maybe that's your calling. So just pray to God and pray to her, and just keep on taking it to the next level. And best wishes from our side, for that matter.
Okay, thank you, Radhe Radhe.
Radhe, it's always a pleasure to hear from you. Great.
Yes.
We had a great discussion today on Mother's Day. Really called for it. So hope you all had a great time as well. We can do our closing prayers, and you can all catch up the action in case you missed part of it in video. Let's do our closing prayers, and tomorrow we'll be doing 4.13 again. Who's going to do the closing prayers then?
Tiji had raised hand, now it's down. Shyamji, Payalji, okay.
Okay, let's go ahead and do that.
Yeah. Okay, I've unmuted all three of you.
Let's do that.
Sarve bhavantu sukhinah.
Sarve santu niramaya. Sarve bhadrani pashyantu. Ma kaschit dukhabhag bhavet. Om
Shanti. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe. It was interesting.